What if everything that you knew about boarding schools was wrong? I spent 48 hours living inside a 474-year-old British boarding school's latest outpost in India, sleeping where the students sleep, eating where they eat, sitting in their classrooms. And what I found challenged everything I believed about sending a child away from home. Let me be honest about why I'm here. As a parent, the idea of boarding school has always scared me. You think separation, you think loneliness, you think what will my child feel till they feel abandoned. And I think most Indian parents carry that same fear. We grew up believing that good parenting means being physically present every single day. That sending your child to a boarding school is something you do when you run out of options, not when you're choosing the best one for your child. So when Shrewsbury International India invited me to stay on campus for 2 days, I didn't come up here to make a promotional video. I came with the questions every parent actually has. Will my child be emotionally safe here? Will they be known, like really known, or just be a roll number? And at the end of 2 days, would I, as a conscious parenting coach, actually consider sending my own child?
Stephanie, we're waiting for you to drive us.
No funds, madam. Can't wait.
Today we're talking about none other than Shrewsbury, India.
Let me start with the thing that hit me first. Physically, the space. 150 acres in Bhopal, one of India's cleanest cities. As a Mumbai parent, I'm used to schools being squeezed into standalone buildings with a concrete playground. This felt like stepping into a different country. But space means nothing if it isn't used with intention. So let me show you how this school does not optimize on every inch and gives your children a free space to run, play, and have fun. Now, every school will show you their best classrooms, polished laboratories, smart boards, the works. I've seen dozens of them. But I want to show you the moment that genuinely changed something for me. I walked into a biology class and the children were jumping. They were not playing, they were not misbehaving. They were jumping as part of a lesson plan. The teacher was having them exercise for 1 minute and then measure their pulse and heart rate and check their blood pressure. When was the last time your child's school made them move during a science lesson? When was the last time learning didn't mean sitting still and making notes? This is what Shrewsbury calls whole person education. 4 pillars: intellective, active, expressive, reflecting. And in that one classroom, I saw all 4 happening simultaneously. Then I walked into this, a carpentry studio where children are building actual vending machines and cupboards, not watching a YouTube tutorial, building with their own very hands, learning design thinking through sawdust and mistakes. And then the art teacher said something that stopped me.
Wow, look
Have
at
their
this.
time. So this is one of our lower 6 students who's been designing clothing and capes, etc., for use in drama productions. And this is what he's coming out with. The children are getting experience of a multitude of different subject areas. As we then move into GCSEs in grades 9 and grade 10, that's our external examinations.
Right.
So that's following the Cambridge Examination Board.
Yes.
And that just, again, it allows us to have that active learning.
Yeah.
As we move into our 6th form, which is lower and upper 6, which is 11 and 12, we go into AS and A levels.
Right. And you provide for 3 languages: Hindi, Spanish, French,
And German.
and German. So
And
4
German.
languages.
So all of our children do 2 languages in the lower forms. So in
Right.
forms 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, they all do 2 languages. As we move up into GCSE, they're encouraged to take at least 1 language.
And what about the sciences?
All of our children take sciences right through to the end of their GCSEs. And it's important because science permeates every part of society.
Right. And tell me, how does one go about with India? We have so many different boards and curriculums. How does it all amalgamate well at Shrewsbury when they join in?
I think the key really is knowing our children. We know our children incredibly well, and it's making sure that our staff take the time to learn about the children. One of the joys of being a boarding school is we have them 24/7, so we can do that.
Right. And when a child needs any extra help in a particular subject,
Yeah.
If they were not on campus, they would be tutoring somewhere, or they would take extra help. How do you guys manage that part of it?
So we have extra sessions that we run throughout the day. So we have our teaching and learning is happening traditionally in our lessons, but we also have our homework time, which is, we call it top schools, which is harking back to the UK and where the homework used to be done back
Yeah.
in the old area. But what we do is we have visiting tutors that go in every single night. We have our teaching staff that are on campus can drop in, so pupils might ask me if they can have some extra support, and I'll just drop into their boarding house on an evening and chat when they've got their homework time, and we can go through some of the bits of it. It's the joy of boarding school. You have that opportunity to really know your children, to also really support the children when they need it. And if they're willing to come and ask for that extra help, then we're willing to give it.
What I kept noticing in every classroom, in every studio, was that learning here doesn't look like what we've been told learning should look like. It looks like doing. Here's something I was told before I arrived that I didn't fully believe until I saw it myself. The headmaster plays table tennis with the students, not at a special event, not for a photo, just regularly. He shows up where they gather, he knows their names, he asks them about their last match. This might sound like a small thing, but when I coach parents, one of the first things I tell them is your child doesn't need you to be perfect. They need you to be present. They need you to be approachable and available. And that is exactly what I saw in how the school's leadership operates. So I sat down with founding headmaster of Shrewsbury, India, Dominique Tomalin, to ask him the hard question.
Given the philosophy that Shrewsbury follows, what are the kind of families that you're actually looking at coming into Shrewsbury?
So as an educator first, I'm only really interested in making sure that young people go to the best school for them.
Yeah.
That means that I'm very keen for parents and potential pupils really to investigate the options. Of course, we're not going to be accessible to everybody. So I see a really big part of our responsibility here in India is to take the opportunity we have here, this fabulous campus, and the vision and ambition that Jagran Social Welfare Society have brought to this.
How do you pacify families who are unsure of a boarding experience? What should we say to them?
The timing of when you start boarding is important. The decision needs to include the child.
Yeah.
And again, it's really about coming and looking at the environment, looking at the community that they'll be joining, remembering that the families are still part of that community.
Yeah.
And we work very hard to make sure that the families feel included in what their child is doing here every day. So it's that conversation, really making sure that the parents have met the house parents and the people who are going to be caring for the individual children in the boarding houses.
Right.
And but boarding, from my perspective, is the best way of educating teenagers.
No. Why do you say that?
So from my experience, having everything available on site is really important. But the biggest issue with education is the outcomes that you want to achieve. And all the research says that one of the most significant factors in outcomes is the relationship between the teacher and the pupil.
Right.
So if you imagine in a boarding school, a teacher is going to, yes, be in the classroom teaching.
Yeah.
They're also going to be involved in co-curricular. They're also involved in the boarding community. And as a result of all of that, they get to know the child really, really well.
Right.
And not just in one context.
Yes, which I've seen over the course of.
After the classroom, I was taken to what Shrewsbury calls the second classroom, and I need you to see this. 90,000 square feet, temperature controlled, indoor, Olympic-sized swimming pool, indoor cricket arena, badminton court, squash court, fencing court, gymnastics, a climbing wall, and indoor shooting range, indoor rowing, 20 sports under one roof. But here's what matters more than the facilities. Shrewsbury doesn't use sports to find athletes, they use sport to build character. Every child plays, not just the talented ones, literally every child. And there's a philosophy behind it. They call it the active and expressive pillars. The idea that resilience, leadership, and emotional regulation are taught on the field and not just in a counselor's office. And yes, the children here pick their own mulberries off trees on campus. When was the last time your child picked a fruit off a tree and actually ate it?
The mulberries, straight from here, they're really good.
Now the question every parent really wants answered. Where does my child sleep? Because you can have the best classrooms and Olympic pools in the world. The place where my child lays their head at night doesn't feel safe, warm, and like home. None of it matters. I'll be honest, I walked in expecting basic clean rooms. I was wrong. These rooms are modern, spacious, filled with natural light. It doesn't feel like a dorm. It feels like a bedroom, a good bedroom. But the room is just the hardware. What I really wanted to understand is what's the software, the pastoral care. What happens when a 12-year-old is crying at midnight because they miss home? What happens when a 15-year-old is being excluded by their peer group? What happens when a child needs to talk to someone and their parents are 1,000 kilometers away?
There are 3s, 4s and 2s. So this is a junior boarding room, so there are up to 3 pupils in here. Go down 2 or 3 flights of stairs to get to a level 3, which will take 90 pupils.
So each of these will have a common room like this.
Yeah, so the idea in a boarding school is to provide the pupils an opportunity both to socialise but also acquire some life skills and take some responsibility.
Finally, the most important voices. I sat down for dinner with the students and I asked them the questions every parent would ask their child if they could be a fly on the wall. What struck me immediately was how articulate, grounded, and genuinely confident these kids are. Not rehearsed confidence, real confident. The kind that comes from being seen and heard every single day. These children don't sound like they've been sent away. They sound like they've been sent towards something that really appreciate.
Super. How did you decide to come here to study?
So I'm here with my siblings, and my father wanted me to be here at Shrewsbury to experience a life where you get to know people and stay away from family, yet explore so much. So I'm a national level shooter, pistol shooter, and I have also done national level rhythmic gymnast.
Wow. And do you feel like being here gives you more time to be with your sport? Because I'm sure if you were pursuing any of the other boards or if you were in a city life, it would be hard to balance both, and sports choot hi jata.
Yes, it's absolutely hard. And that's what I love about Shrewsbury. It's about being here and getting to balance your academics with your sports.
Okay, amazing. What does a day in your life look like?
So usually we get up at around 6:50, 7 o'clock. We have our breakfast at 7:30. School goes on till 10:30. 10:30. We have a small snack break, and then our school goes till 1:30. We have our lunch and then go back to boarding house. We have our extracurricular activities, clubs, and then we go for sports.
Okay, and sports is what, 4 to 6?
Yes, 4 to 6.
And then what do you do after 6?
We come back, we have half an hour to get changed, refresh ourselves. And from 6:30, we have our top schools.
What is top school?
So top schools is homework time for us. So we get to study, revise what we want. And then from 8 o'clock to 8:45 is dinner. Okay. And then we come back and we have top schools again.
Wow, that's a long day.
It is, but then we have got used to it and we like it that way because it keeps us busy, our mind busy.
Right. And do you feel like it gets boring? Do you miss city life?
No, absolutely not. It's so nice to be here in a place where there are trees all around surrounding us, and then there are teachers who do not make us feel that we are missing our home and our parents back at home.
So now comes the big question, Mansi. Would I send my own child here? I came here with fear. I'm leaving with completely different questions. The question was never, should I send my child to boarding school? The question is, what kind of childhood do I want my child to have? Because what I saw in 48 hours wasn't a school. It was a childhood, the kind where you run on open fields, build things with your own hands, perform on stage, get to know your headmaster over table tennis, and learn biology by jumping. Not every family will choose boarding, and that's absolutely okay. But if you're even considering it, if you've ever been carrying the guilt and the fear that what if, I hope this video shows you what is possible. 474 years of history, and somehow it feels like the future.
You know, as parents, I'm sure you've thought about, when I'm selecting a boarding school for my child, should it be up in the north or down in the south or up in the hills? And it'll be so much better. And I'm sure you have your preconceived notions about picking a boarding school in Bhopal. But honestly, after spending 2 days at the Shrewsbury campus in Bhopal, I would only say that you have to hit the campus once to experience it, because once your child is within this ecosystem, once they have world-class infrastructure, the sporting facilities, the kind of educators, teachers, facilitators that are on campus, and just the sheer number of leaders driving every division to make sure that it's a holistic experience for your child, I think it'll make a world of a difference. So if you haven't, just give this a thought. If your child loves sports, give this a thought. If your child is spending lots of time in between classes and is somewhere dropping their passion for academics, give this a thought. And even if you're not remotely thinking about boarding school, I think just pay a visit, because you may just be tempted to give your child this expanse and these facilities, which I think is very hard for day schools to provide. I mean, if I were to ask you to look at this, would you be able to guess really which city in India this really is? So it's all in our heads that, oh, do I really want to go to a city like Bhopal? Do I want to go to some other city? But really, if you just look outside, look at this campus, look at this beautiful building right here, which is actually the boarding facility for the children. This is where they actually stay. So do give this a thought. And of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to share them with me in the comments below, because I'd love to know, what are your concerns? What is it that's holding you back? And really, it's something that I would want to, as you know, I was just joking with the headmaster that if they ever have a master's program, I'd love to come and explore and study again, because coming to a campus like this really makes you believe that you want to come back to school and back to learning again.
For parenting tips, celebrity interviews, recipes, conversations with experts, DIYs, and lots more. Subscribe to Kidsstoppress now.